¿Qué onda, mis compañeros? February is upon us, which means we have 4 major elections happening this month to decide the Democratic nominee for President of the United States. There's the Iowa Caucuses on February 3rd, the New Hampshire Primary on February 11th, the Nevada Democratic Caucuses on February 22nd, and the South Carolina Democratic Primary on February 29th.
Wait, Norb, hold on. You keep saying primary and caucus. What's the difference?
So primary is a system that most of the country is used to. You go into a polling booth, you choose a candidate with a secret ballot, you get your I voted sticker, and then you leave. And then there are caucuses. To explain how a caucus works, we have to go to a little magical place called Iowa. Because the Iowa caucus is the first vote of the presidential primary process, many believe that it signals the strength or weakness of a candidate's campaign. 7 out of 9 candidates who have won the Iowa caucuses have gone on to win the party nomination. So it's kind of a big deal. Republicans and Democrats have their own way of running a caucus. So for the purposes of this video, we're going to be talking specifically about the Democratic caucus, because this year it's the only one that's competitive, and the candidates will be replaced by TACOS. Because why not? The Iowa caucuses are held in public spaces across the state's 1,681 precincts. Voters will hear pitches from supporters of each candidate before the caucusing begins. In this case, we have supporters for tacos de asada, tacos al pastor, and hard-shell tacos. After the supporters address the crowd, the caucusing begins. The crowd breaks into groups based on the candidate of their choice. People literally walk toward their favorite candidate and stand there. Those who are undecided stand in a designated area for people who are undecided. After this first round of caucusing, everyone is tallied up. If a candidate has a group that is less than 15% of attendance, they have 30 minutes to gather up some more people to stand with them. If after 30 minutes they still haven't passed the 15% viability threshold, they are considered not viable and removed. After that, their supporters can then caucus for any of the remaining candidates. After unviable candidates are eliminated, the process begins again, and that candidate's leftover supporters and any undecided voters must then choose one of the remaining candidates. And this is when things start to turn a little chaotic.
I know you love tacos asada, so come on here and join us.
Tacos al pastor have pineapple, which makes them sweet and savory.
Tacos asada are not only delicious, but it's the safe choice.
Do you want to be safe or do you want to be bold?
Tacos asada.
Tacos al pastor.
Asada.
Al pastor.
You know what? After giving it much thought, I'm gonna go with tacos al pastor.
You know what? You convinced me too.
This part of the process is very time consuming, but voters have to stay until the very end of the night, because if you happen to leave early, your vote doesn't count. Once that precinct is done with their caucus, they report their numbers to the state level, and through math, they decide how many delegates get assigned to each candidate.
Question, why does Iowa get to go first?
Iowa has been first since 1972. The Democratic Party wanted to make the process more inclusive, so they decided to spread out the presidential nominating schedule in each state. Because Iowa has a more complex nomination process, it had to start early. Therefore, it goes first.
Well, I'm so glad Iowa is representative of the entire country.
Yeah, about that. It's not.
What?
Iowa is 90% white. That's a lot of white people.
So where are the Latinos?
Latinos only make up 6.2% of the population, despite being the second largest voting bloc in the entire country.
And how about black people?
Black people make up 3.8% of the population.
That's a lot of power for a state that's not representative of the country, like even a little.
After the Iowa caucus, there's the New Hampshire Primary, another state that's predominantly white. And it's only until we get to the Nevada caucus that we start seeing Latinos and people of color at the polls. But by that time, our options for candidates may be limited if they decide to drop out after losing in Iowa and New Hampshire.
That sucks.
Sure, but come on. We're used to the system downplaying our voting power. So we can either cross our arms and complain, or we can do something about it. There are young Latino organizers throughout Iowa, ranging from high schoolers to college students, making sure that our people's voices are heard. 6.2% may not be a big percentage, but in a close election, it can be the difference between winning and losing for a candidate. Make sure you turn out to vote and support your candidates, because it's 2020, and you can't afford to throw away your vote.